If you're wondering slash questioning and trying to decode the signals and the signs to figure out if he's into you or not, then he don't like you. And sometimes you catch him looking, but then he won't actually talk. This, is really frustrating. We don't want that. Not in 2025. Understanding these signs is very important because it helps you to effectively guard your heart and to not waste time with men who are inconsistent. You don't care about men, girl. Yes, you do. Why are you saying that? Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dora. I make social commentary videos on music, popular culture, social issues. I also have a podcast and I vlog occasionally. So if you're interested in all of that, I'm kind of like a little bit of everything. Subscribe and stick along for the ride. So a lot of you guys have been asking for me to make more boy related videos, which I was gonna get into it. But guys, our life does not revolve around men. No, it does not. Life is much more than just to be in a relationship and to have a happily ever after ending life story. But a lot of you guys thought that my advice on my last video related to like having a godly crush was really helpful. And I've learned already so much in just those couple of weeks, and I'm here to talk about it. And frankly, this video feels so fresh because I'm currently recovering from a crush. Lord have mercy. Yes, I am a victim. Oh, why me? And a lot of the videos that I post and a lot of things that I talk about are things that I've gone through myself, that the Lord literally has me walk through and apply myself. And throughout this crush that I've been going through right now, I've been finding myself applying a lot of the things that I talked about in the last video and really seriously like living that out. So I really recommend watching that video because it was helpful for me and it was helpful for, I know, a lot of people, because a lot of people told me so and reached out to me personally. But one thing that I wish that I talked about in greater depth is how to know if a guy likes you. How do you know if someone likes you? What are the clear signs indicating that he's into you or not? And you might think it's pretty straightforward, and honestly, it is, but there's so much more like in between. There's so much more messiness and mixed signals and so many things that could happen that can make it really hard to decipher if someone is really truly into you or not. And I want to break down why that is. And so in this video, I want to talk about how do you know if someone likes you, and I also want to talk about our tendency to lean into fantasies, delusions, and to kind of hold on to those mixed signals that makes it all more difficult and murky to truly know and decipher if someone is into you or not. And of course, I'm a Christian, so all of this advice is going to be from a Christian biblical perspective. So how do you know if a boy likes you or not? Honestly, to make it very plain and simple, if you're wondering slash questioning and trying to decode the signals and the signs to figure out if he's into you or not, then I'm sorry to break it to you, but he don't like you. That man is not into you. He don't like you, girl. If you find yourself being confused by mixed signals, he does not like you. He probably doesn't like you, okay? And I know it's hard to hear. It sucks, but it's the truth. And frankly, we need to hear it more often and snap out of our delusions, snap out of our fantasies that we've created in our mind. To be honest, if he liked you, you would just know. It's very obvious when a guy is into a girl. It's like hard to miss it. But you don't seem convinced, so let me break it down, and I want to talk about some of the things that can make it really difficult for us to know if a guy is into us or not. Honestly, just to give my girls, my little hopeless romantic girlies out there, because I am one of them. I know, I see you trying to rebuttal me, talk about, oh no, but like he did this one thing, so like maybe. I see you loud and clear, and let me tell you, he still probably don't like you. I always talk about sin, but it's because sin has truly complicated everything, okay? Sin, trauma, hurt, and pain has made the process of figuring out if someone's into you or not, of deciphering if someone likes you or not, and of expressing love and affection to other people that we are interested in really complicated and more strenuous than it needs to be. So that's why I really feel like I have to break down why it can feel like he likes you, but he actually doesn't like you. And maybe he does like you, but he's having a hard time expressing that he does like you. Anyways, I'm going to talk about it. I'm just going to talk about it. So, in the category of mixed signals, I want to talk about 3 things that can make it difficult to know if someone is into you or not. The first being eye tag. I heard this on TikTok and I kind of thought this was like amazing word to describe this weird thing that happens when a guy just keeps looking at you. You're in a room, he's looking at you, you walk in, he's the first person you're looking at, you're doing something, you're hanging out with your friends, you're talking in church, he keeps looking at you, and sometimes you catch him looking, but then he won't actually talk to you. He won't actually pursue you. He won't actually go up to you, talk to you, have conversations, ask you out, and do the things that you need to do. This, is really frustrating. And I know that you may try to rationalize the lack of pursuit by putting emphasis on those looks and making it seem like there's something there, but genuinely, girl to girl, looking isn't the same as pursuing. We cannot be hung up on the looks. We cannot be hung up on the little bitty itty bitty bit of attention that he gives us and make this wild conclusion that he's so in love with us and he's just super shy and super nervous. Now, to be fair, if he does look at you, it may imply that he's interested. It may indicate that he's interested, but it does not automatically mean that he likes you, or at least he doesn't like you enough to follow through with his actions and not just look, but also go up to you and actually talk to you and get to know you. And the way I also like to think about it is this: people like to look at beautiful things. People like to look at aesthetically pleasing things. It's a biological fact. Babies like to look at symmetrical faces. So if he's looking at you, it could possibly just mean that you're really pretty. Okay? Just to hype you up a little bit. You're beautiful. Like, of course he's looking at you. Like, girl, it don't mean that he likes you. Like, I would look at me too. Something else that makes it a little bit confusing to decipher if he does like you, but also if you were to just stop being delusional and face the reality of the fact, you would know that, yeah, he definitely doesn't like you, is if you're always initiating. Yeah, I hit you there, didn't I? I mean that you're always the one approaching him, you're always the one initiating conversation, you're texting him first, you're asking him questions, doing the work and the effort of keeping and feeding into the relationship and building a relationship. He probably doesn't like you. He doesn't like you. And this may seem confusing because when you initiate conversation and when you talk to him, he might seem receptive and it might feel like there's a vibe going on between you guys. But just know that there's a vibe because you are the vibe. You are the only reason why the conversation is flowing, because you're actually invested in asking questions. If it wasn't for you, and if you were to pull back and stop trying so much and stop trying to prove and advertise yourself, he wouldn't talk to you at all. The relationship is on you. It's literally on you. It's on your back. Your back is heavy. You're tired of carrying the weight. Let it go. Something else that also makes it pretty clear that he's not into you is if he's never really complimented you or he's never asked you questions about yourself. And I know it may seem superficial. Oh, he's never complimented me. What do you mean? Like, da da da. It's not that you're fishing for compliments, and it's not that you need compliments, but the simple act of complimenting someone else just shows that you're thinking of someone before yourself, that you're considerate. It shows that he thinks of other people outside of himself. And also, it's just basic kindness, basic human decency. The fact that he's never really bothered to, I don't know, compliment you or to even invest in you, to ask you questions, to try to get to know you, is a pretty major indicator that he doesn't like you. If he's not doing that to you only, that's weird. If he's not doing that to you and also other people, then that's not even someone that you want to even be in a relationship with or like, because that's just not nice at all. That's not even me. Like, what? There are probably many other mixed signals, but I'm gonna stop right there. But essentially, you could sum up all these mixed signals to describe it in one word, which I called the breadcrumb theory. This is not a theory that I came up with, obviously. This is a theory that has been popularized in pop culture, especially TikTok, especially relationship TikTok. That side of TikTok knows me very well. The breadcrumb theory is, you know, when you feed bread to like a pigeon or something, you feed them little pieces of bread. You don't ever give them the whole loaf of bread. You just feed them little pieces. And then when you stop feeding them the pieces of bread, guess what the pigeons will do? They will follow you. They will follow you because they want more of those crumbs that you gave the pigeon. And it's the same thing with guys. And also girls can do the same thing. Please, men, do not come for me. I'm tired. Yeah, both men and women can use the breadcrumb theory. So in the same way, the reason why you might be receiving these mixed signals and feeling so confused is because a man will give you just enough attention to keep you chasing after him. He won't talk to you one day, he'll talk to you the next. He won't ever initiate conversation, but when you initiate with him, he feels he's so into the conversation and invested. He's not ever talking to you, initiating conversation, pursuing you, but he keeps looking at you. Those are the breadcrumbs, and he wants to give you those breadcrumbs so that you keep chasing after him, so that even when he's not giving you that attention, you are still throwing yourself at him, you are still chasing after him, you are still desiring and wanting him, and honestly being very desperate. And that's not not cute. He will do these things, but he will never give you the full bread, the full meal, aka the full assurance that he's interested, that he's into you, that he wants you, and that he wants an actual relationship with you. We don't want that. Not in 2025. Let's say you've had moments where you've realized, okay, this man is not into me. He does not like me. Clearly, I'm doing the most. I'm acting a fool. I'm acting foolish, chasing a man. Who am I? You decide to pull back. And now suddenly when you decide to pull back and stop initiating and stop giving him the attention that he ultimately wants, he starts giving you more attention. Suddenly he's texting you more. Suddenly he wants to talk to you. Suddenly he's looking at you more than he did before. And so now this may give you the impression, oh shoot, he's woken up. He realized that I'm the love of his life. He wants me. He wants me. And so then now you're going back to him, and then you go back to him, and then guess what he does again? He pulls away. It's the breadcrumbs. You fell for the trap. He doesn't actually like you, girl. He's manipulating you. Yes, he is. He's manipulating you. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is it that I keep falling for this trap? Why is it that I find myself in the same loops, in the same cycles of guys, of relationships, of men? Now, in the future, I want to do a deeper dive and talk specifically on how to break unhealthy cycles, unhealthy patterns of really toxic crushes. Because let me tell you, I've been there. The last video I've made was how to have a godly crush, right? And it was more like a general video. I really didn't dive too deep into anything specifically. In this video, I'm talking about how to decipher if someone's into you or not. In the next video, I want to talk about how to specifically break away from those toxic crushes pattern, because man, I've learned so much genuinely in these past few weeks about that. But anyways, back to this video. Why does it seem that you keep going back into these same cycles of like falling for the trap, falling for the breadcrumbs, falling for the mixed signals, being confused, being unsure if someone's into you or not? Well, I want to talk about the role of trauma. Yes, I'm talking about trauma again. I can't help it. I'm a psychology major. Trauma is so important to talk about, and it's really important to understand how it has affected you and how it manifests itself in your life and how it affects your relationships and friendships, romantically, whatever it may be. Trauma is the effect of sin in this world, so it's just not crazy to think that, you know, a situation that happened to you when you were a child or when you were an adolescent would affect you in your relationships or would affect you in your self-esteem. All these different things. It's not crazy to think about. It's not crazy to talk about. It's important to address and to understand these things. One of the ways that trauma can manifest itself and affect the way that we have relationship dynamics in this world is through our attachment style. Yes, attachment theory has changed my life. And frankly, it is really important, and I think everyone should dive into that right now. So I'm not going to go too much in depth on attachment theory because it's honestly a lot and I can make a whole other video on its own. But understanding your attachment style, understanding my attachment style has been so crucial in stopping myself from falling for the mixed signals, from falling for the breadcrumbs, and from gaining self-esteem, and from truly standing on business and like honoring myself, honoring the way that God wants relationships and all that stuff. So truly dive deeper into it. If you find yourself relating to the situations that I described earlier in this video when it comes to mixed signals, you might be dealing with an avoidant man. Yes, you might be dealing with an avoidant man. And guess what avoidant man love? Avoidant man love anxious attached girls. Yes, they do. Avoidant man and anxious attached girls, two peas in a pod. And guess what? It's also the worst combination possible. Oh my gosh, it is so toxic. That push and pull dynamic, yeah, it's not good. Avoidant men and avoidant girls, but in this case, I'm a girl, so I'm talking about men. Avoidant men are afraid of vulnerability, are afraid of affection and intimacy and love. So whenever they see that there's genuine love and affection coming their way, they pull away. They run away from it. Avoidant men, I'm not going to talk too much about the childhood trauma and all that stuff because I will just be completely derailing this video. But anxiously attached girls usually are hopeless romantics and strive to prove and show their love and show their affection and essentially love people to death. They want to love people so much to the point where they have no other choice but to love them. And so when the avoidant man comes, sees that this person is really into them, they pull away. But then the anxious attached girl is like, hey, what are you doing? I can prove to you that I'm lovable, and I can prove to you that, and I can change your mind. And they just cling on. They cling on so hard. And it's just like not a good dynamic because the avoidant man is afraid of that, right? So he keeps pulling away. The anxiously attached girl keeps going more and more. And it's just like this really bad, toxic concoction. But anyways, like I said, I do not want to get too much into attachment, but understanding these signs is very important. Understanding your trauma is very important because it helps you to effectively guard your heart and to not waste time with men who are inconsistent and men who are avoidant and men who will ultimately hurt you more at the end of the day. And again, no hate to these men, okay? No hate to these men. I think some men are genuinely broken and hurt and traumatized and are not aware of it themselves because frankly, a lot of men are just not vulnerable with other people and not vulnerable with themselves to even be aware of their hurt and pain and trauma, and they're just operating off of like autopilot, and they're not thinking thoroughly like, why am I behaving the way that I'm behaving and why am I hurting people around me and ultimately hurting myself. I generally believe that we allow trauma, past hurt and pain to dictate us more than we think. We let this be a fog that blinds us and make us behave in ways that do not honor other people, honor God, and honor ourselves. This is why understanding your trauma and getting healing before a relationship is so important. Now, don't get me wrong, there is healing that can be done in community, in relationship, but to put the full expectation of healing onto another person is just completely wrong. It's unfair and it's a lot of pressure, and frankly, there's no other person that can fully heal you other than Jesus Christ, only than the Lord. Amen. And so for the sake of vulnerability, let me just be also vulnerable myself. I grew up with an inconsistent amount of affection shown throughout my childhood. This is something I'm very open about. I talk about it in a lot of my podcast episodes. Check out my podcast. And I've also talked about it in other videos as well. But love my parents, great. They did the best that they possibly could. But affection and love was just not something that was super consistent for me. At times it was shown and at times it was pulled away. At times I felt emotionally neglected, and without realizing it, my whole entire life I gravitated towards romantic partners that were very similar in the way that love and affection was shown and demonstrated to me throughout my whole entire childhood. I realized recently that I have a fearful avoidant attachment style. Fearful avoidant people tend to pull away when it comes to people who are anxiously attached, so people who are really clingy and show a lot of love and then they also become anxiously attached themselves when it comes to people who are avoidant, so people who run away from affection. So I've been both the avoidant and the anxiously attached. It's really not great, just a lot of mess, right? So unknowingly throughout my whole entire life, literally until literally recently, guys, literally recently, I attributed the chase, the confusion, the uncertainty, the mixed signals, the game with excitement, and the passion with love. I thought that tension was love. I thought that uncertainty was love. I thought that the fact that I was playing guessing games, it meant that we had a story and it meant that there was something between us. And even as a Christian, God was going to redeem it. God was going to do a big thing. But in reality, I was just gravitating towards what was familiar to me, which was the inconsistent love shown throughout my childhood. That feeling of tension, that those mixed signals isn't love, girl. That's your hurt. That's your pain. That's your trauma. And it sucks to come to that realization, but there's so much healing and freedom that can come out of working through that, which is something I really want to do a whole other video about, and just deep diving into the healing work that I have gone through to really have better crushes, bro. And now I want to talk about fantasies and delusions. I think what can make deciphering if a guy is into you or not, I think that what can make it more complicated and more confusing and blurry is how sometimes as women we take these little moments, these little breadcrumbs, and we build up a whole world in our mind. We build up a whole story in our imagination. We create this fantasy of who we want this man to be rather than letting the man speak for himself, rather than letting his actions be the end all and be all. We fall in love with the potential of who this man could possibly be. And if you find yourself liking a man like this, sit down with yourself and genuinely ask yourself the question, what do you like about him? And why do you like him? If you find yourself saying things like he's nice, he's funny, he's cute, and nothing really unique to who he is as a person, then you most likely like the idea of him and who he could be and his potential rather than who he actually is. Because in reality, being nice, being funny and cute, I'm so sorry, that is such a low bar. Anyone can be that. But when you really genuinely like someone and you really genuinely know someone, then you like specific attributes about them. It's not based on a fantasy, and it's not based on a reality that you've created yourself and that you kind of filled up the space with in your own mind. I know it's really hard not to fall in love with your fantasies and to live in your mind. Like, this is something that's so convicting for me and something that I have to constantly like do and like take my thoughts captive. Something that's really interesting is that the avoidant fearful attachment style is marked by trauma, like genuinely big capital T trauma. And if you know me, my early life, well, not even my early life, but throughout my life, I've been through really major traumatic things. I don't want to talk about it too much in this video because this video is supposed to be fun, like, yay boys, like, you know, I don't want to make it so depressing and sad, but I've been through some really major traumatic things, and I would escape through my mind as a child. Like, I would sit there and make up stories and fantasies in my mind. I would play with my dolls for hours. I would sit with myself and write for hours and get lost in my thoughts and my imagination. That was the way I coped as a child. I did not know how to get help. I did not know how to express my emotions and feelings. I did not know. And then whenever I did express my thoughts and emotions and feelings, they weren't always validated. They weren't always comforted. So what else was I supposed to do other than to just kind of shut down within myself? There is no point for feeling shame and guilt for that. As a child, that is how I coped with what I was going through. But now that I'm older, I know better. It can feel good in the moment to stay stuck and live in this fantasy land that you've created in your mind, but that can only build more emotional attachment to this individual that you literally don't know, and it can hurt even more to get over this person in the long run. And not only that, but it can be harder to be faced with reality. It can keep you literally delusional. And one thing I realized is that when you constantly live in your mind, you also live a very passive life. You're not actually living your life. You're just almost like a bystander of your life. There's just so many issues with like living in your mind and feeding into your fantasies and delusions. And honestly, you can only genuinely heal and grow and become the person that God has designed you to be when you're just struck with the reality of your life and the situation and the fact that maybe this man is just not as into you as you think that he is. And then you can grow from that point on. And again, I want to make a whole video on like healing and like all that stuff and heartbreak and all that stuff. And genuinely, do you want to be with a man like that? Does a man of God exemplify these actions? Would he leave you confused, guessing, wandering, crying? No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't keep you on your toes. He wouldn't make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. He wouldn't make you feel here waiting to see, oh, is he going to talk to me today? Is he not? Is he going to look at me today? Is he not? Is he going to text me today? Is he not? No. Knowing who God is, knowing his character, he is not like that. He is not a God of confusion. Hello? The enemy is. So that man that you're obsessing with, maybe he's from the enemy. That's a different video though. God relentlessly has chased after each and every single one of us. He loves us so much. His love has been made so clear. He's a God of clarity. Not only that, but he has exemplified his love in the most obvious way, which is dying on the cross for us. So he doesn't just say that he loves us, but he also is acting accordingly. So if a man doesn't do that, I'm so sorry. Don't waste your time. Don't make excuses for him. I know it's so easy to make excuses for him, but it's not worth it. You're just gonna keep yourself in the same cycle of hurt and pain and trauma. It's not worth it. You need to heal. You need to grow. Like, we're not little girlies in the faith anymore. We're women of God. Jesus is coming back anytime soon. There needs to be a quickening and a maturity in the woman of God and in the man of God as well. You holding on to those fantasies, it creates hope that isn't rooted in reality, and it can even make it more difficult because some of these guys, y'all, oh Lord, I'm gonna get dragged by the man again. Some of these guys, they go to church, bro. Some of these guys are literally sitting in their pews and they're lifting up their hands and they're serving in churches and they're reading the Bible, and they seem to be these good Christian guys, but then you talk to them, you get to know them, and they have all this baggage and trauma that they're living from, and they literally don't know themselves. And that's why I think it's so important for men to generally mature, to get therapy, to talk to people, to be vulnerable with themselves. It's so unfortunate, right? It's really unfortunate. So I talked a lot about how do you know if he doesn't like you, fantasies, delusions, but now how do you know if he does like you? It's pretty straightforward. It would literally be the opposite of everything else I just talked about. If he makes an active effort to initiate conversation, he's always around you, he's trying to be next to you, he tries to get to know you, he remembers little things that you tell him, he asks to hang out, to see you, he tells you he likes you. That one is pretty obvious. He doesn't just say things, but he also follows through those things in actions. There's a congruence with his words and his behavior. It's that simple, to be honest with you. If he likes you, you will genuinely you will know. And so, to end off this video, I feel it to be so necessary to give you guys some encouragement and to remind you that there's nothing wrong with you. For years of my life, because of like my attachment style, now I'm realizing, at the time I didn't know, I literally thought that there was something fundamentally wrong with me. Like, why is it that the guys that like me, I don't like them, but the guys I like don't like me? I didn't understand that I was operating out of this deep, deep wound of trauma and hurt and pain and rejection my whole life. I didn't understand. And honestly, it mainly manifested itself only in romantic relationships. I have never had this issue in friendships. And so I just want to remind you, you are not defective. You are not ugly. The way that guys treat you, or the ways that people treat you in general, does not have a reflection on your worth. But what you do put up with does reflect what you think you are worth. And from what I recall, Jesus thought that you were worthy enough to die for. So don't settle for less. Don't. I know it sucks so much to go through rejection, but that's part of life. You can't live your life avoiding it. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen, and rejection only makes you more resilient. It builds character, it makes you stronger. And frankly, with each heartbreak, with each rejection, I've always come out of it better and knowing myself better, becoming more independent, growing into who God wants me to be, letting my light shine brighter, coming to the realization that someone is just not as into you as you want them to be, and realizing that you've been living in delusion and fantasies sucks so much. But you can either wallow in that shame, wallow in that guilt, let it overcome you, give power to the lies of the enemy, or you can allow God to use a situation to speak through you, to bring healing in your life, and to let him comfort you and ultimately become better for it. This is why I'm such a huge advocate of leaning into pain, leaning into suffering. Stop trying to avoid it. You can't live your life that way at all. And lastly, don't let your experience of men shake your faith in believing that God can do exceedingly and abundantly in your love life. I've heard so many women, some of my friends that I love so much, say like, oh, I don't care about marriage, oh, I never want to get married, or like I don't, all that stuff, da 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 da, like. But you have to understand that's not coming from a place of faith. That's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of disappointment and of deep hurt and woundedness. Why would you live that way? Why would you stay stuck in that mindset, in that place, and coming with agreement with the lies of the enemy? Because the enemy will use disappointment in order to keep you from believing in the good things that God has in store for you. At the end of the day, what are you going to choose to believe? The lies of the enemy, that no one will ever like you, that you'll never get married or be in a relationship, that you don't care about men? Girl, yes you do. Why are you saying that? And then you're saying you want to guard your heart. You're not guarding your heart, you're being closed off. There's a difference. Okay, there's a difference. Because are you going to believe the lies of the enemy, or are you going to bring those feelings to God, allow him to heal your broken heart, and let him surprise you? Because he wants to do exceedingly and abundantly. Ooh, he wants to give you that story, that love story that you want. He want to write it down, give it to you, and it's gonna be a beautiful story for you to read. This video was much longer than I anticipated. I guess I had much more things to say than I thought that I did, but I just want to say I'm not perfect. I'm still working and growing and healing, and hopefully this was edifying to you, encouraged you. The Lord is good no matter what, and he's still worthy of trusting and following no matter what. So yeah, okay, I'm done. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.